I saw one of the best things, one of the things that, not one of the best, one of the things that gave me very much hope. Sam Harris, just watched two videos by him, and he said, no, not all religions are the same. Not all religious fundamentalism causes violence. And he mentions the Jains. One of my ex-girlfriends is Jain. Um, Jainists practice vegetarianism. The most, the more extremist of a Jain you get, the less society needs to worry about you. And he's true. He's right, because you become crippled in your active passivism. Uh, Islam is the most violent religion. Uh, Part of the reason why you notice that in my other channel I never covered my face. I still had scars. It's dark, but it's fine. Another reason was I didn't want to have Muslims see people who stumble across. Oh wow, that's him. Even though it's years later. Islam. He mentions 30% of British Muslims want Sharia law and think that anybody that commits apostasy should be put to death. 30% of British Muslims. 60% of British Muslims want those who criticize Islam to be put in jail and prosecuted. Not even in, I'll take a step further, not even in the Crusades, people try to mention the Crusades along Islam. With radical, well, they always parallel Christianity with Islam. This is ridiculous. He brings up the fact that Osama bin Laden and Mullah Omar were not really extremists. They were not the David Koresh's or the Jim Jones of Islam. They Everything they did was according to Islam, and it was in rank and file step with your average everyday Islam. Getting out of the Crusades. The Crusades, remember, did more damage to the Orthodox Christians. There were some Crusades that never made it to Muslim lands. They just burned down Constantinople and stole everything that we had. Remember, before they could coat the Western cathedrals in Aztec gold, where did they get their gold from? They got it from Constantinople constantly burning and raping, pillaging churches. But even in that, how did the Crusades start? Well, this horde came out of the desert in the 7th century, started taking over swaths of Christian land. And remember, North Africa was always Latin Christianity. It was always Roman Christianity. In fact, all the theologians for Rome in about the first 500 years came from places like what we now call Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria. Crusades were a response. They were defensive. The emperor asked the Pope of Rome if he could send 500 soldiers to come protect Constantinople because the Muslims were at the gates. And the Christians drove them back. And the Muslims said, oh, they invaded our land. Really? So the Nazis, the neo-Nazis today, when Americans parachuted into France, you could say, oh, they stole our land. Or the Japanese Empire when America liberated the Philippines. Oh, they stole our land. Remember, the populations of these areas were still in the majority Christian. I think the Muslims, you can see that when El Cid took Spain back, they took their land. Because any land that Muslims conquer is theirs from now into time immemorial. It's theirs in infinitus, most infinite future. Islam is not equal to Jainism. Islam is not even equal to anything else. It means certain death for everybody watching this video. Because you all have open minds, you all express your thoughts freely, and many of you do not fit the sexual constructs of Islam. Christian fanatics, people who take Christianity the most fundamentalist, who are in line with the Bible, mind you. Let's say Protestant, become Amish. They become like what's known as the brethren or the family, where they just don't own anything and they eat out of trash cans and they will nothing to do with the world. Those who commit violence in Christ's name, it's very easy, very plainly to see. It takes a lot of acrobatics and gymnastics to make the teachings of Christ violent. It's very easy to see when he's talking metaphorically. It's very easy to see when he's speaking straightforward. These people, like the Westboro Baptist Church, many people could say that's not Christ-like at all. These people are wicked and evil. We'll read the Quran. It's not a peaceful book. It's cheerleading. The Quran is merely cheerleading for the most violent barbarism and the worst type of civilization you could possibly have. Islam is not the same as any other religion. And yeah, I am against the state of Israel, and I think the Palestinians should win. I don't think that should confuse the issue. But for those people out there who claim to be atheists and secularists and rationalists, say, well, Islam is just the same as any other religion, and they always have to compare and contrast Islam with Christianity. Those people are truly delusional. Islam is coming. And the scariest thing about that is everybody wants to bury their heads in the sand. Everybody wants to think, oh, well, Christianity is just as bad because Christianity is not falling and no. When atheism comes, it's going to black out all of that criticism. You can't even say it's the same. You have to say, well, Christianity is so much more worse than Muslims. And yeah, when did somebody look at the teachings of Christ and say, oh wow, this tells me to behead a little girl? This tells me to go into my, Christ said, love your enemy. In Islam, you exterminate them. That should be the clearest thing. Christ said, turn the other cheek. It's not how it is in Islam. The only thing that could even be construed as violent is you say that I can bring peace, have not come to bring peace but a sword. It's like the sons against the fathers and mothers against. Throughout every single bit of Christianity for the first 1,500 years, and if you want to be more cautious, for the first 1,000, everyone who read that said this meant that persecution is coming to the Christians. No one ever took it as, oh, can't be violent, or we have to be violent. Nobody ever took it as we have to be violent. Everyone understood it throughout all of Christianity to mean, oh, that means persecution's coming. Well, let's look at the verses in the Muslim Quran. Now we hear, oh, they mean peace. At least for the first 1,000 years, everyone understood those. You go to war, you kill the Mushrikeen, the pagans, and you forcibly subject the Yahudi and the Nasrani to taxation and second-class citizenship. It's the Jews and the Christians. Atheists and pagans, you guys will die. If Islam succeeds, you will be dead. You will be killed. The Muslims and the Jews, you'll probably be killed too. You may just live as a second-class citizen. We look at civil rights. Oh, it's horrible how the blacks were treated in the South. Under Islam, Christians and Jews are treated worse. Sam Harris is 100% correct. And I think it's great that these new, what we call them new atheists, like Hitchens and Harris, I think it's great that they're speaking out. And they know that there's that there's a difference, and they actually say it, and say that the atheists that say there's not are delusional or cowards. Peace. And I mean that.